Hello and welcome to the NUFC post reaction for the Forest game. I'm joined by Max in Sweden and Ben in Phoenix in the US. How you guys doing, mate?
Good. How you doing, man?
Bit nervy just now, to be
Oh,
honest.
fantastic.
Yeah, great to see all of you. And if Max is in Sweden and it's like, 6 o'clock in the evening and Ben is, 9 o'clock in the morning? You haven't had breakfast yet, right?
9:30. Yeah, just drinking a coffee, just trying to digest everything that I've witnessed.
Yeah,
2-0
I
win
know.
opening day. It's been a good morning. It's gonna be a great weekend,
I know. Yeah, it's always good to have a win for a weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, what were your thoughts in general on the game, Max?
Well, I thought we started off really strongly. We pressed them good, created a lot of half chances, and honestly, it's just a complete good performance from everyone in the team. Maybe the cutting edge were a bit lacking sometimes, but overall, I think not a single player on the pitch put in a bad performance, and that's something because that's not often we get to say that. So I'm really pleased.
So true, so true. Ben, how about you?
Yeah, same. Like I was watching that in the first half, thinking I don't remember us being like this. It's been a long time since I've seen us play just great passing football. In just the possession. I wasn't worried. It was a beautiful feeling not being worried about like counter attacks or in the commentary. The guys he said something like it's been a number of years. No, Newcastle weren't involved in a 0-0 draw at all last season. I was like, well, yeah, no shit, we were terrible. We just conceded goals all the time, and it was nice not to worry about conceding goals. I wasn't worried. Even when we didn't score, I still wasn't worried. It was just a beautiful, wholesome, chocolatey performance. It just completely rounded, and it was just nice. It was lovely. Yeah, I had a beautiful morning, and yeah, what more can you ask for?
Yeah, I know what you mean. So did it kind of worry you in the first half, especially with the lack of cutting edge?
Yeah, it did, but I wouldn't say worried. I was more concerned about, and I think we were texting a little bit on the way through it, and it was like, how many times have you seen this before, where your team just absolutely dominates and then loses by 1-0 by a breakaway counter attack? And that was my only thought. It was like everyone talked up Brendan Johnson. I thought he had a quiet game. I thought maybe is it just he's going to counter attack and that'll be their one opportunity. And it just didn't happen. I think they had one cross that maybe troubled us a little bit when Nico Williams got past target. But other than that, no. Like we did have a lack of cutting edge, definitely. I think there's clearly still work to be done in the transfer market to counter that. But we looked a lot better than last season. I thought Mickey on another day could have had 2 or 3 if he develops the right foot or just at least shoots, just takes a shot. But yeah, they put some good blocks in. We need to be better. Against a better team, I think we don't have that much opportunity, and it does worry me a little that we relied on our centre back Share scoring his regularly scheduled worldie that he does. But I wouldn't say I'm worried. I think if it was September and it wasn't the transfer window and we're still playing like that, where we only created 1 or 2 clear-cut opportunities, then maybe a little bit more. And against the better teams, we'll have to be a bit more clinical, but still early. Still got time in the window. So I'm not worried. I just would have liked to see in a first half goal.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Max, what about you?
Yeah, I thought the front three was, at least Maxi and Almiron was really involved in the build-up play, and I thought Maxi was brilliant. He ran the channels, he let go of the ball at the right time, he dribbled when he wanted to, he put some good balls into the area, and Max was all over. Yeah, I was up front today. I did really good, I think. No, I'm sorry. No, the problem I think is I love Miguel Almiron, but the fact that he can't use his right foot is so frustrating, because when he gets in the opportunities to put in a good direct ball with his right foot, he always turns to his left, and you lose a bit of momentum. And the players in the box need to fall back a bit, or maybe he needs to take a bit more time, and we lose the momentum of the through ball from the beginning. So that's a annoying thing, but otherwise it was really good. And I thought the midfielders, Joe Willock and Joe Linton, really pushed forward good, and also Bruno did his best, pushed forward a lot. We completely dominated the midfield area today. It was schoolboy stuff. The Jack Holbeck and Lewis O'Brien didn't touch the ball almost, and they were absolutely schooled by that midfield three. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And what did you think about the Burn and Share partnership from the start? Were you hoping for Botman at all?
Yeah, I was, but I knew that Eddie Howe wouldn't want him to start. He would start Burn and Share because they had such a good back end of the last season, and I agree with him. Why haven't done anything wrong, so why should they be replaced by Botman only because he's signed for the summer? He will play, of course, but Burn and Share, they didn't let anything past them, really. Burn won every duel. Shar won every duel. Maybe 1-2 times that someone came behind them, but otherwise than that, they completely dominated.
Ben, there was a pretty big block from a Lingard shot from by Share early on. Pretty crucial, you thought?
Yeah. I mean, to Max's point, I think they played really well. I in the preview show, I wanted Botman. I think the problem with doing what we've done, and it's not a problem because we've won 2-0, right? Everyone's happy, and I'm not. Eddie Howe knows a lot more about our players than I do. But to me, now, how do you go and bring in Botman? When are we going to see Botman start? I think you don't change that winning team against Brighton because Dan Burn, former Brighton guy, how can you drop 2 players that have just got you a clean sheet on your opening day? Then you've got Man City at home. I don't think you're bringing in your new signing to Man City, the champions at home. So then that probably leaves you maybe Wolves, and then after that it's Liverpool, and it's the same thing. I don't think you're bringing in your new player against Liverpool either. It's not really fair to drop them into such a big game that you're expected to lose. So I think he's got probably 6th game of the season. Maybe we'll see him start, in my opinion. But if we're winning and we're playing well, then great, right? He doesn't command its place in the first team because he's a big money signing. He still has to prove himself. But it's a 2-0 win. I'm happy at the end of the day, and they both played brilliantly. And Share scored a worldie. As he said, he put that block in, which is a goal in itself, essentially, that he scored there. Because I think that was going to be a shot on target and from a dangerous position. It's really all that Lingard did the whole game as well, and he got shut down, which was beautiful to see. So I don't know what else to say. They played great, and the whole having the left foot the ball player, the right foot ball player, everything came from them. And Pope was distributing to them as well, which is great to see. Is from starting having Kieran Clark and Jamal Lascelles last season to go to this, and to have Botman on the bench and bring him on with 3 minutes left, it's just a piss take, isn't it? Like it's just a nice position to be in. I'm ultimately very happy this morning.
At the end of the day, if you don't consider a goal, then your backline has done the job. So.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's not going to change that for Brighton, I don't think. It'd be Rafa Benitez-esque if he did. He was the only one I know that changed up a winning team. But you've got to be happy. Clean sheet, 3 points. Your centre back scores a worldie. It's a good day.
Yeah, and then Botman got a few touches at the end just before the final whistle.
All the old days. Yeah, I'm there for that all day. That's exactly what I want to see.
That was nice of the teammates to do that for him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Very sportsmanly from Share, getting his teammate a few touches.
Anyway, moving on. What did you think about the press today for the whole 90 minutes for the lads?
Yeah, I thought it was great. It's something we've seen in pre-season. It's something that he brought in last season towards the end. They were a bit unfit to start with, very unfit to start with. Callum Wilson even said so. But you saw elements of it at the end of last season. That Arsenal game, I remember putting them under a lot of pressure and then making mistakes. And it's something they've done a lot of during pre-season as well. Like Bilbao, that game was great. The first half, especially, they kind of run out of steam in the second, but you could see because they were pressing so much. I thought it was similar in this. The first 30 minutes was unlike any Newcastle I've seen and ever. I think there was just so many forced errors on the Nottingham Forest side just by closing down. It was great. I think maybe around end of 38, 40 minutes they start to lose a little bit of gas in the tank. Maybe the press kind of dropped a little bit. They started getting a little leggy, but second half they came out and carried it on, and it's great to see. And I don't know what the stats on it were, but the amount of misplaced passes from Forest and retained possession, the amount of times that Trippier just cleaned up long balls because they were put under pressure. that's we're becoming a possession team because of that press, and it's great. I love to see it. And it's what people like Bruno thrive off. If we can get the ball back and give it to players like him who make a difference, we're going to be in for a good season if we keep doing that.
With this kind of game, how long do you think we can actually maintain it over the season with this press, this intense press that we have?
I think we can do it because of the World Cup in the middle of the season. We could probably keep it up for the end of the last game, which is in October, right? I think, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. End of October or November or something.
Yeah. So realistically, we probably should be able to keep it up to the World Cup break, where we only lose maybe 5 players or something, and then we have the sort of mid-season training cap, and you can build it up or relax or restart, and you go again in January, and maybe can continue. I hope that's the plan, because I think that could work. And also, I thought it was really good. Pressed good, as Ben says, they misplaced a lot of passes, and Trippier and Sharon Byrne just plucked them out of the air and kept on keeping our momentum. And Forest didn't really. It the last 15 minutes of the second half, maybe they played the ball, but they didn't get anywhere. So we completely dominated the game, and that was lovely to see. I think we had like 63% possession, and that's unheard of for a Newcastle team, at least during my time as a supporter. So it was really good to see.
Yeah, and we probably don't play like this every game, and
no.
Yeah, so true.
I think it depends, who the opposition is. A team like Forest maybe who aren't as possession dominant, or maybe they were in the Championship, but they're not going to be in the Premier League. But maybe against City, it's going to be a bit more difficult. Same against Liverpool, who have a very different system and style of play. But I think we looking at how much better we were than them today, and it's a bit unfair to say because they've had so many players come in, and they probably haven't really gelled yet. The likes of was Awani is on the bench, and I think he looked good for the few touches he had when he came on. He was bright. So maybe they weren't at their best, and they'll get better. But we were so dominant. It was really good to see, and
it's very rare that we are so dominant in a match.
Yeah, if we can press like that against teams of that nature, then I think there's probably 8 or 9 teams in the league that we're much better than if we play like that. So that's really nice, and I think we'll just like Krabs and Malone there saying, I think we'll play differently against the bigger teams and probably have to sit back a bit more and soak up pressure. But if we can go out and dominate teams that are technically not as good at us or not on paper as good at us, then I think it's a good spot to be in.
Yeah, and as a result of this press, Nick Pope had a really, really quiet day. How was he?
Yeah, I thought it was good. Nothing really. He commanded his box really well. Came out and took some balls in the air. Good on his feet. That was a big issue before. I thought the long balls he played was really often hit the target, and not the target, but the target. And the short balls also he seemed comfortable with the ball at his feet. So I good debut.
Great, quick distribution, I felt.
Yeah.
Ben.
Yeah, no, definitely. To Max's point, there was one little scary thing when there was either a corner or a cross came in that he kind of got slightly underneath. But other than that, I think he sees things a lot faster than Dubravka does. Now, I really liked Martin Dubravka. He's been great for us. But it's when you're playing in this way, having someone who can read the danger faster and react to it, come out and and just basically mop it up. It's great. And then as you said, distribution wise, I think he was really good. He was always looking for the quick ball. It didn't always happen, wasn't always on, but whenever it was available, it was like he'd catch something, throw it straight out, and get us on the counter attack. Which kind of going into that last point, when we're playing against those bigger teams who will dominate possession, counter attack is going to be everything to us. And I think he's going to be a big part of that. And I think that's probably one of the reasons they brought him in. He commands his box better. He gets counter attacks going faster. His distribution is pretty good, and he's an England international for a reason. He's just a pretty good keeper. So all in all, very happy. And I mean, I don't know how you'd even rate him today. I don't think he had anything to do. I don't remember making him a save apart from maybe a catch, but no shot stopping. It was, it's good. It's 10, right? 10 out of 10.
Goalkeeper.
Kept it 0, so it's good.
Yeah, and Apparently, Dubravka gave him a hug before he went out for the match. That's really, really nice touch.
Yeah, I saw that too. Hug and a pat on the back. That's nice.
I think Dubravka seems like a good guy, and I hope he sticks around because having him as a backup is I'm not even a backup, but like both playing for that number one. It reminds me a bit like Given and Harper, both decent keeper. Given's a great keeper. Harper, very, very good backup keeper. Maybe not always like, well, he was number one for a while, but maybe he wasn't up to Given's level, but they were close. But, having Dubravka and Pope, to me, is pretty similar. So, yeah, I hope he sticks around. I'm not sure if he will. There's all this conversation about Leicester needing a keeper and them not really having the money to go out and do something about it. So, if he could be a make-weight in something else, it would make sense, right? Because we still have Darlow, who again is a decent backup, not probably number one Premier League. He's not number one Premier League, but he's a good backup. He's fairly reliable, if a bit eccentric. But so if we can use him for something else, maybe. But I'd be happy if he stuck around. I think he's a really good, solid backup.
Yeah, and I mean with the World Cup coming along, Nick Pope will want to be number one for the whole season. Or in the lead up to the World Cup, he wouldn't want to be dropped at all. So he'll be on his A game every week if he wants to get to the squad.
Yeah, and I think he should be. Like, I mean, from what we've seen only in pre-season so far, he got in the squad when he was at Burnley, and granted, he had a lot to do at Burnley. He was still in front of a lot of shots. Yeah. But we have players now that Gareth Southgate has to go and look at, right? We have the England right back in Trippier. We have Wilson. We've got Pope, who's an England cap player in goal. He has to take notice now. He has to come and watch them. And I think if we've got a team that's doing pretty well in the league, top half, like playing well, I think he has to start including them, which is not something that's happened really that often before. He generally does his best to avoid Newcastle players, but I think he's at the minute he's probably going to be in and around it, I'd have thought, and maybe even Wilson if he keeps finishing like that.
Yeah, it was a great finish.
Yeah, Max, who were the standout players for you today?
Oh, it's so hard to pick because I really thought it was a brilliant team performance all around. It wasn't really an individual performance that helped us get the win. But if I have to pick one, Kieran Trippier. I just loved how he dictates the game from right back. It's very Alexander-Arnold-esque type of midfield playmaker right back. And
Alexander-Arnold who can defend.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, not get back slammed on the back post by Mitrovic. It was really good. He played a good 1-2. He plucked the balls out of the air. He won headers. He did everything. Great corners. Of course, there was a lot of good moments from other players, Bruno, Wilson, etc. But for me, as a right back to stand out that much in a game is really impressive, and it's really nice to see someone play like that.
Because there were so many players on the field that was just so damn good. I'll give you a second one. Who was the second?
A second. Oh, caught me off guard there. Then I gotta give it to Bruno, I think. But it's so easy to give it to him. He's always good, so it's not like
it's like cheating, isn't it?
Yeah, he's always good. So I'm gonna give it to Maxi because I was really impressed by his runs and his decision making. Because otherwise we all will always get so frustrated with his dribbling and sometimes dribbling and not letting go of the ball in the right moments. But today I thought it was really good. Came close sometimes of scoring himself, so it's a good performance for him as well.
Yeah, I mean Maxi was on the left, Maxi was on the right, he was up front, he was even moving down in defense. That was rare.
It's interesting you say that because I noticed as well. He really drifted across from left side, right side into the middle, and Almar did the same. So it feels like the wingers have been given a lot of freedom to move across, and that's really good because that confuses the defenders, and it was nice to see.
Yeah, start the second half, I saw Maxi like in the middle on the right, and it definitely started to open the game up a little bit because I think, although like Nico Williams and I can't remember who it was, Worrell it was also on the left-hand side, but he had both of them on toast. But as soon as he started moving over to the right, everything kind of opened up at the back a little bit more, and it was I think that might be something they need to do a bit more often because you could see, especially in the first half, if Miggy had that right foot, would have been a couple of goals up, but he didn't. So he was always cutting inside, always looking for his left foot. Whereas if Maxi had been on that side with his right, you were a couple of goals up going into half time.
And he put in a pretty good cross, didn't he, with his right at one point.
Yeah,
that's true.
And you kind of think also that if he'd been at the back post for that, he probably would have finished it. So it kind of also, it made me think, I wish we'd gone for Diaby. I wish he'd wanted to come because having him on the right, it's so dynamic. Having a right-footed player who can go like on the outside as well. It's it would have been nice, but not to be.
Yeah, absolutely. So standout player for you, Ben, would be?
I think Trips is a great shout. I think Cher was brilliant. His positioning, his passing at the goal was fantastic. We know he can do it. So I'd probably give him just over Joe Linton, who I thought was brilliant again. Like going forward, if he'd have took that one away in the first half when he did all the hard work, danced through the whole defense, and then somehow
classic Joe Linton,
the classic Joe Linton, right?
But does all the hard work, and then that final part.
If they could work on his finishing, the man would be just world beater.
Yeah. He would be too good.
I think he had a good game, and I think Wilson when he got more people around him, it was really good. At the first half, I think he was a little bit on his toes, but he was making runs. He was, you could see he was putting the effort in, and that finish was brilliant. But he just lacked a little bit around him, I think. Which I in the chat we were saying, he needs someone around him. It's like a perfect sized Madison or Paqueta sized hole around him, which would have been nice.
Yeah.
But Miggy worked hard, but for me, probably Fabian Schär would be just over Joe Linton as my man of the match.
Yeah, he deserves a mention because of the goal. He broke the deadlock brilliantly.
Yeah, what a hit! I can't wait to see his other 3 or 4 that you'll do this
one years ago.
Yeah, it was exactly the same almost. It was amazing.
Well, every time he hits those, it takes me a second. It's like, oh, that is in. It's gone in.
It's gone in. Yeah.
He has no business doing it.
No, exactly.
Krabsy Malone says, should we play Miggy on the left and ASM on the right?
No, I don't think so. Because because Max's ability to go both ways and his way to cut inside and shoot with his right is too dangerous to switch over to the side. But I like the fact that they switch in the game, like to confuse the defenders a bit. I see the point because Miggy can then cross in with his left more easier. And I think he played on the left when Benitez signed him with him on the left, Rondon in the middle, and Perez on the right.
Yeah.
So I can see the point, but it would take away too much of Max's game for me to think it was be more beneficial.
Yeah, completely agree. Miggy, just missing the final shot.
Yeah, like always.
He really is. He'd be, a 40-50 million pound player if he could shoot, but he's just poor lad. But
you can shoot in training.
Yeah, well, I mean, if he played like pre-season, then it'd been great. But you can't fault his effort. Like he won the ball back.
Oh, he's running everywhere.
And he plays with such a happy expression on his face. And it's like I love watching him play. It just, when you have problems not problems, but like you're not as free scoring as you'd like to be at the front end of the field, then I think, can you upgrade on him? I love watching him play, but I kind of feel like we need someone who's consistently going to score, whether that be someone like Jack Harrison or a Madison or I don't know who else. Like, people talk about Paqueta. I've not seen him that much, just bits and pieces. But I know his record of scoring goals is good. I feel like we need someone who is a bit more clinical. And as much as I love Miggy, I think taking him out of a position that we need him to score goals in and maybe putting that energy further back, because he could do what Willock did, in my opinion. Willock, I thought, had a good game as well, actually. Someone we haven't mentioned. I thought he played pretty well. But, I think Miggy, for me, could go and be competition for Willock and Longstaff in that position and put somebody a bit more clinical in that, further right. Or just have Miggy, as the backup to that far right, like inside forward position, and just Jacob Murphy has to play football somewhere else. Yeah.
Look, just imagine we can't get somebody on the right wing. Do you think Ryan Fraser could be somebody that we could maybe explore? Because he formed a pretty strong partnership with Trippier last season before Trippier got injured.
Yeah. Well, him and Anderson, I would say. I don't know if Anderson can play that era, but I think he can, because Eddie Howe has mentioned how good he is tactically and can play a different position in center mid, left mid as a 10. I imagine he could play at right wing as well, so maybe. But I also Fraser is good. His end product hasn't been that good either. It became better at the end of last season, and we all know what he has in him from the season in Bournemouth, where Wilson was really tearing it up. But I haven't seen so much of that. I don't think anyone has. But there's embryos of good performances and good points from him to take. But yeah, I honestly prefer Miggy in that case.
Yeah, I agree. I think Miggy brings a lot more energy. I think Fraser's good. I like him, but I think if you're going to play him, you sort of need to commit to playing him for a while. He gets better the more games that he plays. Naturally, but I think he's just not the level of Miggy. He doesn't press the same way Miggy does. I think Miggy's all round brings a lot more to the table than Fraser does. As much as I like him, but was it Fraser or was it Murphy that got put clean through earlier on? I thought should have had a penalty or at least a red card. Yeah, Murphy. That was a bad challenge. That should have been a Well, I don't know if it was in the area, but it was definitely
a red. It was just outside the area.
But yeah, that was Murphy, was it? It wasn't Fraser.
Murphy, I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I thought Fraser was good. He was lively, but to me, I'm going with Miggy every day. Or Madison. Or Paqueta. Someone.
Or anyone.
Yeah.
Anyone that can put the ball in the net, right? Anyone that can shoot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, someone who can put the ball in the back of the net. I felt like John Anderson in that commentary, who's put it in that bloody net.
Yeah,
like 3 or 4 times in that game. It's like, Miggy, come on, just take the shot. He's always putting it on his left. But I sound like I'm having a go at him. I'm not. I think he had a great game, but
it's a bit frustrating. It's frustrating. It is.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny now because we won.
Yeah, it's true. We're really happy.
The good news is he's not Gabriel Obertan, right?
I don't know if you can mention Miggy in the same sentence as Obertan. I was being constructive. That's just mean.
He's not Obertan, so we should be grateful.
Yeah, good. Yeah, Obertan was. Oh, I don't want to talk about him.
No, let's not.
AP's a Forest fan. I mean, it's a shame that you guys couldn't give us more of a game, but personally, I'm glad that you're back in the Premier League. I mean, you're a huge team, and you've been out of the Premier League far, far too long with your history in the game.
Yeah, I agree. I think I thought it was going to one of 2 ways. I thought they were going to be really good, and it was going to be a really difficult game, like we saw with Arsenal and Brentford, like the previous season when Brentford came back up and they won. It'd been the first game in the Premier League. I thought for Forest, I think they'll beat West Ham next week at home. I think the home atmosphere is going to be incredible for that. They had some signs of life, but it was just not. It wasn't their day. I think they got overrun in midfield. They couldn't get the ball. Playing it long with Burn and Cher was never going to work, and they couldn't get their players in the team in the game. But I think they've got some good players. I think they bought really well, better than people compare it to like Fulham did, like when they brought in 120 million on like 13, 14 new players.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I think Forest have bought better. But Awani is really good. I like him. I think Lingard could be good. He had some good touches in this game. He wasn't like busy, but when he did pop up, like he was the only person at that shot, pretty much the one that Cher blocked. But I hope they do well. I hope they stay up. I'd much rather see Everton go down than them with, I guess, Bournemouth. And then I thought maybe Fulham, but they've just drawn at home with Liverpool today as well, I think, right? So it could be a bit difficult. And Mitchell looks like he's on fire again. So carrying on from last season. So yeah, I wish him luck for the season. I just I hope we get 6 points from them across the 2 games. But I'm happy for them to beat Everton and the rest of the relegation lot.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving on, right? We've spoken about Miggy on the right wing and the fact that we probably need a right winger. Transfer windows ending in a few weeks. Who do we want to get, and what position? Just imagine that we've got, I don't know, 50 million left.
I would say look at the big teams for loans. I mean, Broja is someone we have been linked with. If he becomes available late in this window, that would be a great addition, a great backup for Wilson, because they're quite similar type of players. Gets in behind, strong, physical, quick. For the right wing position, we could look at someone like Callum Hudson-Odoi if he becomes available as well. I think he's a good player down. He has a lot of injuries. Although he has had a lot of injuries, but he seems like a good player. He was highly regarded a couple of seasons ago. Could be a shout. Nicolas Pepe at Arsenal, if we can get him on loan, maybe. He was someone we were linked with some years ago before he went to Arsenal. He doesn't get a lot of playing time. Could be someone to look at. So some may play. I think the loan market will open up late in the window when the big teams have their team sorted out, and there could be something to find there. Some player to be coached by the great Eddie Howe.
Future England manager in 20 years' time.
All right. Not now.
Yeah, nothing too soon.
Nothing too soon.
For me, I think, we kind of touched on it. It's been the theme of this whole post-match review, is that I think that right-hand side it's not weak. I think Miggy's shown he's good and he can offer something, but I felt like we should have scored more than we did. I think the chances that we had weren't clear-cut, and that is the slight worry for me. And a clear-cut chance, not really looking there at striker being the problem. I think Callum Wilson is a really instinctive finisher. If he gets a chance, most times, 9 times out of 10, for me, he puts it away. I think it's the build-up that is more of the issue, and maybe a little bit the formation. So I think Max's point on Hudson-Odoi, I'd like him, someone better than Murphy, who's a natural. I think he's right-footed, Hudson-Odoi, and he can go on the outside. I like the idea of him, and I think from my understanding of where they are at with FFP and financially, and I think Mark kind of touched on this on the preview show yesterday, that they have about 20+ million in liquid cash that they can actually invest in this window. So that to me is probably one permanent and then one loan maybe, or 2 loans. So if they could get Hudson-Odoi on loan and maybe somebody a bit more creative, and for teams like this, I think it showed that you could probably play a 10, especially in that first half. We're just so dominant. And maybe we're dominant because we dominate the midfield, right? And that's what's helping us win the possession and be dominant. But I think if you swapped Willock out, and again, I think he had a good game, but I think if you swap Willock out and put someone a bit more progressive in and a bit more, someone who gets forward a bit more, like a Paqueta or a Maddison in there, I think you probably start to score a bit more and make a few more clear-cut chances for Wilson. I think a backup striker is probably someone we need, like a pressing forward, but a young player, I think it would be. I don't think it would be someone necessarily going to be in challenging Wilson. I think it'd be someone more of a backup for Wilson to challenge Wood, who they can mold and turn into the next Wilson, which is what the Ekitike thing was about. I think that's kind of what we're going to do with him. So I think wide right is where I would, either wide right or someone who can play wide right and in the middle is where I'd put my money, and then try and play the loan market as well. So it's going to be difficult. But I have faith in them. Everything they've done so far, they've delivered on everything, and they've shown that they won't get ripped off by teams. It's all been clever business, and I'm pretty sure they'll get some good players in.
Just now you mentioned Dubravka to Leicester. Do you think could be a potential Maddison and Dubravka kind of deal, maybe?
Yeah, for me, I think it would make sense if they had, if they're still out for him and they think they can get him. I'm talking about Maddison, then it would make sense to use whatever they can at their disposal to make that happen. I think especially when they're so watched on FFP that they can't just go out and blow that money. They have to be really careful, which is frustrating. And when other teams like Chelsea, who lost so much money, can just go out and spend mad money on players, it makes no sense. Apart from obviously they have much higher revenue. But yeah, I think they have to be so careful with it. If they could use Dubravka and knock down the price of Maddison a bit, then it makes total sense to do it. I don't want them to get rid of Dubravka, but sometimes you lose players that you like. We will lose players that we like for the greater good, right? I mean, I love Trippier, but he's 32. I think he's probably got another 2 seasons there, and then they're probably gonna have to bring someone in maybe next season to be the new Trippier, to kind of get in, to aid that transition. I don't want to see it because I love Trips, but it's going to happen. The same with Wilson. I think he's great, but he's 30 and a bit injury prone. They're going to bring someone else in sooner or later, if that's like, a big forward like Isak or someone like that. But these players that we love are going to transition out in the next, year or so. Except Bruno. We'll never get rid of Bruno. He's going to die at the club. He's going to be there forever. But yeah, other than that,
Max gave the face when you spoke about his countrymen.
Yeah, I think he's great. I think he'd be naturally in the summer maybe, but yeah, we'll see. I think he'd be good. I think to me, he leads that line really well. It plays kind of in a similar role a little bit to Wilson, a bit more pressing maybe, but yeah, to me, I think he'd be the natural progressor. But it's a big deal to do, and it could be expensive.
Yeah. Max, question for you: do you think we're panicking a little bit with this? Wilson maybe might get injured, and having to bring in Wood. I mean, the season is being cut off early because of the World Cup. So actually, our first half of the season is a lot shorter. So are we kind of panicking as a fan base, do you think?
That's hard to say. That really all depends on if Wilson gets injured or that right-hand side becomes too big of a problem for us. That doesn't create a lot. But I don't think we don't need to be desperate. We don't need to get someone in just because the sake of it, because we have good players. Fraser can do a job, but Malmron does. We saw today he's energetic. He creates space. Maybe not the final product, but he still does the job for the team. I rather see us not bring someone in than bring the right player in, the wrong player in. But I think, like I said, the loan market will open up in the end. If Chelsea keeps on buying, maybe they sign a striker or a winger or something more. Broja needs to leave. They need some money. We play an installment deal, get him in. That would be good business. But I don't think, from what I saw today, I think we can do it. Good job with the team we have. It's also like you like to see new attackers. It's always exciting. So when you don't get to see, and you see other teams bring in attackers, and you have your same type of players, you get bored because we all get bored at some time with the same players. But even if they're good, so I don't think we should panic. But also, as I said in the beginning of this, was if Wilson gets injured, then we have a massive problem. I think. Well, I know, because Wood isn't he's just not good enough. But as you said that, Alan. This is short time. We play it's a lot of games in a short period of time, but we still, if he gets injured in the last game before the World Cup, he of course he may miss the World Cup. That would be bad for him, but we could get him back before January and getting going as new again. So we will see. But I hope we bring someone in, because you can't bet on him staying fit. It's too much of a risk.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, any final thoughts from you guys before we head off?
No, just a great start to the season. I was just thinking at the end there, like comparing it to the start of last season, 14 games without a win, and then to have that atmosphere there today, and the War Flags banner, that I thought that was brilliant. What was it? It's the new day, it's a new dawn. That was class. It really is. I think it summed it up really well. It's it feels different. It feels new. It feels like we're doing something, which is 14, 15 years since I felt that way. It's been 15 years of just getting by, and to have something to like actually be excited about this season. I think we're going to go to Brighton. I think we're going to smash them. I think we're going to be in Europe. I think we're going to get Conference League. I think we'll finish 7th, get Conference League. We're just playing well. And I'm positive. I'm not usually positive, but I am, because they're playing well. So just a great.
It's weird to be so positive, right? After so many years.
Yeah, and it's nice. It's just a nice feeling, because it's over here. It's 10:10 in the morning, and it's like we've just won. I'm used to being battered 3 or 4-0 by this point, and my weekend's ruined. And I've got Steve Brooks talking about, we like. It's just so different. I'm just so grateful and happy that we've got owners that care. We've got a team that plays well. We've got a manager that knows what he's doing. We've got a manager that actually makes them train, and it's just nice. It's good.
Yeah, I said it before the game in our chat that it was the first time since Benitez left that I felt that buzz, in your gut when you're so excited for the game. You're nervous. You can't sit still. It was really nice because I thought I lost that during the other guy's period of management.
We won't
I
say
thought
his name.
I know the name that shall not be mentioned, but I thought I lost that during that time, and I thought I maybe would find that again. But I found it. It's back, and it's a love-hate relationship, but it's now it's more love, and it was really great. I just want to be there at St. James's Park this season, and I hope I can travel over sometime soon. But otherwise, really good game, good performance, really happy.
All right, lads. So Brighton next, and well, it's going to be Dan Burn and Dan Ashworth heading back to Brighton.
The Dan Derby.
The night, the Dan Derby. Right, lads. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Tonight,
Thanks,
wherever
Alan.
you are in the world, and everybody else that joined us tonight as well.
Thanks, guys.
Enjoy your weekend, and yes.
How are you, lads?
How are...
We.